Real estate can be a good way to make money as an investment. Every investor, from the most seasoned pro to the beginner, can determine the right approach. In this video, Alisa Lloyd, finance expert and contributor at NextHome, will be joining me today to share the 6 different ways to make money in real estate.
Thank you, Rachel, for inviting me. I'm excited to talk a little bit more about this amazing topic.
Before we dive in, I'd like our audience to get to know you better. So can you kindly tell us a bit more about yourself and what you do?
I've been doing financing for the last 12 years, which has been great. And prior to that, I worked for 14 years for developers and property management companies. So I used to work with like Polygon, Lettingham McAllister, the Quick Group, Pinnacle, Solterra, and Hollywood Properties. My whole career has been real estate, which is amazing. And I'm also very involved with Haven, which is the Home Builders Association, and I'm part of the board of directors.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that brief introduction. And with that, let's jump right into the first way to make money through real estate, which is rental income. Can you please explain what rental income is and how it works?
The rental income is really about the landlord who owns the property is going to be getting from the tenant. So from there, it really comes about the cash flow, right?
What are the benefits of generating rental income?
Well, definitely one of the things that it'll happen over time is the property value is going to increase. Real estate will always appreciate over time. It's really about a long-term investment and getting additional money. The first thing is definitely getting into owning your own property. But once you have equity on that, we can look at taking equity out of the property and then you're buying another property. Also, you'll be able to deduct costs such as property taxes, repairs, insurance, and the interest that you pay on the mortgage. As well, at the same time, you will have to declare the rental income in your taxes, but there's benefits to that.
Perfect. And for my last question, can you give any tips for those who are new to generating income through rental properties?
When you're looking at buying an investment property, it's really about the numbers. When you're buying something for yourself to live in, it's more of an emotional purchase. But when you're looking at an investment property, it's really about the numbers, making sure cash flows, that it makes sense and it's going to be a good investment for you. So it's really important to be working with the right team that is going to help you there, both from the realtor side and also the mortgage expert. For example, we do have part of my team, we do have an investment strategist that actually helps with that. And that's the only thing she focuses on, is really looking at the cash flow and making sure that that's going to be the right property for it, because not every property is going to be the right one for investment. You might like it, but then that's the emotional aspect of it.
Moving on, let's talk about flipping. So flipping in real estate means buying a property, making improvements to it, and then selling it quickly for a profit. What are the benefits of generating income through this method?
One of the advantages is that you're able to increase the value of the home as you make improvements to it. So the value would be higher compared to what you actually purchased it for.
What are some of the things to look out for when flipping property?
There's a new anti-flipping tax that has come into play. So it's really important that you actually look into that, because essentially what they want to do is prevent people to just be flipping homes if this is not what they do as a regular business. So if you're not a renovator or builder and you're flipping homes, you need to really look into that and see if it's going to make sense for you. When you include the tax implications on it and all the other costs, it might not make sense for you to do it. So there might be other ways that you can actually look at ways to create more wealth in real estate.
Moving on, let's talk about real estate investment trusts. Can you kindly define what a REIT is?
It's a type of investment where investors put their money together to buy a property like an apartment, a commercial building, or other kind of retail spaces, and able to kind of work together.
Can you tell me what type of person would consider investing in REITs?
Anybody can be investing in a REIT. It just depends about if it's going to be the right option for you. You can actually use your LIRAs or your RSPs to be able to actually invest into a REIT because it is secured. So for example, I have done that, and it's really about finding out the right information and the research and making sure it's going to be the right investment tool for you.
And what can you say are the benefits of generating income through REITs?
So unlike physical real estate, it can actually take some time to sell. REIT shares can be bought or sold through a public exchange like stocks or different options. There's companies that actually focus on that, and that gives the investors the liquidity to be able to do the projects.
What then would you consider are the downsides or concerns to take note of when it comes to REITs?
You need to be mindful as well that the amount of money that a person can take from a REIT depends on how the real estate asset is doing, how much is going to pay out in dividends, and how many of the shares that you actually kind of own.
Would you consider REITs a high risk or a low risk investment?
I mean, anything you do it will be a risk. It's really assessing what is your risk level. But you do need to make sure that you look into the potential fluctuations in the real estate market, changes in interest rates, and the overall market volatility. And if you're not sure about it, ask more questions. And if you're really not comfortable with it, don't do it.
I guess we can move on to the fourth way to make money through real estate, which is all about short-term rentals. Can you explain what short-term rentals are and how it works, or how it differs from the rental income property?
It's another way to investing in the way that you actually are having the property for a shorter period of time, say less than a year. So this could be, for example, an Airbnb that you're actually renting the place for a night or for a week or a longer period of time. You're going to be generating income based on a shorter period of time instead of having a long-term tenant.
What are the potential pros and cons of this particular method?
It has become fairly popular to have Airbnbs and everything else, especially in high traffic areas or more popular areas. It's a great option for people to be able to stay in a place compared to using other accommodations. One of the things that you do need to consider is making sure that you're going to be following the strata. There requires more cleaning and upkeeping and maintenance of the property as well. You're dealing with people coming in and out all the different times because you're going to have different guests. And there could also be some limit or restrictions. There could be certain bylaws in certain municipalities or certain areas that you expected to have an Airbnb, and then the bylaws kind of change or the regulations change based on the city. So again, it's seeing what kind of makes sense.
Moving on to number 5, let's talk about real estate crowdfunding. So what is it?
It's a newer kind of investing that enables people to invest in specific projects by combining their money together from other investors, and it's really more done as an online platform.
So what are the advantages of real estate crowdfunding?
What it does, it actually allows people to participate in real estate where otherwise it wouldn't be able to do it. So this way it doesn't require such a high amount of investment required.
Now let's talk about the disadvantages. What are some things that people should be aware of?
Any crowdfunding can also carry the possibilities of loss of capital, lack of liquidity, or fluctuations in the real estate values. It's really important to understand what's the market doing and what are the potential risks involved with it.
Let's talk about lease options. So how does lease options work?
Essentially, lease options would be rent to own or lease to own agreement. What happens is if you don't have the down payment, it allows you to be able to get into an agreement with the individual that eventually they're going to be selling the property to you. As part of a traditional lease, you are going to be paying the rent for that place, but at the same time, you're going to be actually paying a little bit more money, and that amount of money will be going towards your down payment.
So how does this benefit the landlord or tenant?
One of the ways that it can help is with the landlord can benefit by financially renting the property, while at the same time they will be able to sell the property at a later date, having the price agreed as part of the lease option agreement. So they're going to set the price what it's going to be. This also allows the tenant to be able to save money as part of the rent to be able to afford the home. So it's a little bit different than just renting a place and then you save it on your own. In this place, you're still paying market rent, but a little bit of extra the money will be going towards the down payment to you buying that property. So you're essentially agreeing already to buy the property with a specific price.
What should people be aware of jumping into this type of investment?
It's important to do the right lease agreements as well, and making sure that it actually makes sense, especially too because down the road, if you're going to be needing financing, the right agreement has to be done in place to make sure that the lenders will take into account the down payment that you or the extra funds you've been putting as part of your down payment, but also make sure that you do it with a lawyer, real estate lawyer, so everything is done properly for you.
That's been very insightful, and I guess that wraps up the 6 ways to make money through real estate. Thank you again, Alisa, for taking the time to elaborate on these 6 ways. Thank you to everyone for watching, and of course, we'll see you in the next video.